As you can, I don't know if you know, that finally it took way entirely too long. The economic illiterates that have been kicking the can. You want to talk about punting the damn can down the road in regards to the stimulus packages, and packed into those where was this idea of extending federal unemployment benefits, expanding them more so, extending and expanding. And now we're starting to see that some of that stuff is either expiring or just going away completely. And you have the experts, of course, wondering what's going to happen now. Of course, people are still pushing for that. AOC, I saw the other day, pushing for more benefits because they're welfare status, right? You being complicit and dependent, or complacent, and dependent is exactly what we want. Reading this from CNBC, NBC News. Pandemic unemployment benefits just expired. What will families do now? And this affects apparently 7.5 million people. I will tell you exactly what the fuck they're going to do. They're going to get back to work. There's your answer. I can end the segment right now. That's your answer. They're going to get back to work. See, I know that economically illiterates like to think that incentives don't exist, right? Now, I know you guys definitely that live in these like bigger areas. You know that it's actually, I've never seen anything like that. Not that I can remember in my life, where like every place that I go to has a now hire. Even when I was in Miami, like every place has a now hiring sign. And not all of them, most of them aren't like these like bare minimum wage jobs. Some of them are, but not all of them. You know, you hear stories about people that pay on the upward of $20 an hour and they can't find good work right now. To act like the federal government was not involved in that, and obviously they've historically been involved with that. I mean, between welfare statism, minimum wage laws, all of that sort of stuff that I've been doing videos on for the last decade almost. So that's not a secret, right? But for real, that's there. Look at it like this. This is how you look at welfare status. It doesn't matter if it's unemployment benefits or whatever it is. How that works is that you incentivize people to fail. And so as long as that person fails, you give them money. So it doesn't matter if it is in unemployment benefits. Doesn't matter if it is in just Section 8 housing. It doesn't matter what it is. You're saying to that person that, hey, as long as you don't make above this amount of money and you meet these requirements, whether it may be having kids or whatever it is, we're going to guarantee that you have some money or have this house or have whatever it is. The minute you get above that line, we are taking fucking everything. OK, so what that does is encourage people to get right exactly where they're at. This actually may help for turning the tide on the pandemic stuff, because a lot of these people ain't working. Right. They're getting more money than they were when they were actually working on unemployment, or sometimes this may be lower. But think about it. You can work 20 to 40 hours and get a little more, or you can work not at all, pretend like you're looking for a job and keep getting broke off with money. Of course, a lot of people are going to take the easy route out. And that is basically doing nothing but keeping money coming in. But we know it's not a secret that jobs are fucking everywhere right now. Like, people can't hire enough people. And a lot of these jobs are very decently paying jobs. So what they're going to do, I haven't even read the article. I'll tell you what families are going to do. The people that are able-bodied are going to find work. Period. They're going to find work. Federal pandemic unemployment benefits program ends Monday, leaving millions to wonder how they'll make ends meet for their families. They know how. They just don't want to accept the reality. An estimated 7.5 million will be affected, according to calculations by the Century Foundation, a progressive think tank. So it's probably not even that many. In addition, 2.1 million unemployed people will lose the $300 per week federal supplement. That's a lot of money to just be giving people on top of what they were already getting. Right. So think about that. Like, these motherfuckers were getting 300 bones a fucking week. Right. So they can like $1,200. Like, on $300, you could eat and live off of that shit a week. What the the fuck? Now, yeah, so, I mean, you got kids and all that stuff in the equation, but $300 a week, that's easy money. You can eat off it, maybe making additional money off of, paying for your rent and shit, but that's on top of what they were already getting. Since the start of the pandemic, the government has spent they've almost spent $1 trillion, $200 billion away from spending $1 trillion on unemployment assistance. These people thought that shit was sustainable. That's a fucking shit ton of money. The programs including pandemic unemployment assistance, which kicked in after regular state unemployment expired. So they had no incentive to go get a job. But COVID has more patience than Washington, which appears to have little appetite to extend the benefits. Good. It's funny, when they do nothing, it seems to help out. NBC spoke with several households earlier in the summer as more than 24 states began prematurely opting out. It wasn't prematurely. I'm going to tell you guys what happened. We talked about this with Montana, for example. Montana couldn't get motherfuckers to work, so they cut the goddamn federal benefits off. That's what happened. They were like, goddamn, we got all these motherfuckers hiring, and we don't got enough economic activity happening right now. And it's because people sitting on their ass on Instagram and shit, playing video games all fucking day, because eating potato chips, because they don't got to do shit because the federal government's breaking their ass off. So they decided, you know what? Nah, we cutting you off. And motherfuckers, the sky didn't fall. Like AOC would pretend like, oh my God, all the kids are going to go hungry. The sky didn't fall. These motherfuckers got their ass right back to work. The families described desperate circumstances months later, how their choices played out after a preview of what awaits the newcomers. Despite labor shortage, they applied for jobs and didn't get them. They accepted frontline COVID risk to make money. They went to work for the fucking grocery store? Ain't nothing wrong with that. They helped out unpaid with a family member's business. They filed for community assistance to keep the utilities and the eviction notices at bay. Sherry Pratt, 47, an unemployed print marketing sales representative. A what? Print marketing sales representative in New Hampshire? That sounds like a fake job. They helped out. They said, like many, she struggled to find a job that would pay enough to cover childcare. While she is at work. I don't know if New Hampshire is right for that kind of job that she was looking for, apparently, but I guess not. But you have to do what you have to do, man. A lot of you guys have been in that situation where you have to kind of go. Like, this is my thing. I've said this before. If all of this shit that I'm doing that I've seen success in up and failed, pride ain't shit to me. I go take my ass to fucking McDonald's to put food on the table. Ain't nothing like, I don't give a fuck, man. Oh, that's Eric July working at McDonald's. I be flipping the motherfucker out them patties, man. Flipping the goddamn out them patties, man. Cause I don't like, that don't mean nothing to me. My objective is to put food on the table. So if I got to go grind and go work that, I'll go do that. I ain't got no problem with that. A lot of people don't have enough, like, it's not even just drive. It's like they feel like they too pretty to do that shit, right? You know, in places like McDonald's, they hire your motherfucking ass on the spot. Motherfucker ain't even got a sentence out. You're hired. Can you start working right now? Put your ass to work right fucking now. So a lot of people they're not pretty enough. They're too pretty to do that. You know what I mean? And even like a lot of these fast food restaurants like Whataburger, these motherfucking managers be making like fucking $47,000 a fucking year. They be getting broke off. Shit. But a lot of people too pretty for that. You know what I mean? Probably if you're working in print marketing sales. My father was like that. You know what I mean? I've talked about him before. Like, he was ironically in kind of the IT world, and at that point in time, he had lost his job because of his own fucking stupidity. When him and my mother were together, he thought he was too fucking pretty to go to 7-Eleven down the street and go at least work an in-between job before he can get back so he's at least breaking some income in. He was too pretty for that. You know what I mean? Probably same thing. Instead, she turned the crisis on its head and started watching other kids in her home. I can still be flexible at home with my daughter when she gets home from school, as well as my 11-month-old granddaughter, so that my oldest can keep her job. The money isn't much, but it helps. I'm certainly not making as much as I was before COVID, but I'm doing what I can. Business and political leaders looking at the math of 8.4 unemployed and over 10 million open positions have predicted a flood of applicants when benefits end. Like, imagine being one of these dumbass Keynesian economists that work for the government and not understanding that correlation. Oh, shit. This is labor shortage, right? We need people to work. Oh, shit. If we get rid of the benefits, motherfuckers start filing applications and shit. Like, imagine being that brain who's like, oh, we got to keep having the federal government lace these people up because they'll die if they don't. Come on, man. The data tells a different story. For every 8 workers, and this is according to recent research. Who is it by? Let me see. Who is it? I just want to know who at least did it. Michael Stepner. So a bunch of academics who probably only get, they're basically the indoctrination wing of the state. Apparently did a study, and they said for every 8 workers who lost benefits, only 1 found a job. I would love to, and maybe I will after this show. I'll go look at this and see how they came to that conclusion. The leading reason why the unemployed aren't taking jobs have little to do with government money and everything to do with health and economic crisis. Fuck off, man. Like that, this is the shit that gets me about these economic illiterate dipshits. Like they don't want to accept reality. Says child care scarcity and costs or fear of getting or spreading COVID. That's the fault of the government, by the way, feeding this fear porn and taking care of someone with a disease or getting sick themselves. That's just simply not the case. I would love to see what data they're looking at to come up with that. A study by J.P. Morgan Chase shows that immediate result of end benefits is not a rush to work, but a sharp decrease in household spending. I'm guessing that being disposable because now they don't have money to just piss away. The average person can't find a job right away and will have cutbacks. I would love to know where they're getting this information from. This is a professor of economics at the University of California, Los Angeles. That's a Keynesian, guaranteed. The main issue is that funds were established with a deadline given by politicians and do not adjust even if economic conditions don't worsen. That's not it's funny how people look to the government to solve that problem. It's not the government's job to solve that problem. They created the issue. The best they can do is get the fuck out the way. Here we got Jordan Mottler, who is of Oklahoma City. So he's in my area, because I'm in North Texas, and he's my age. Hasn't worked since she and her husband were laid off in March 2020. She wants to work, but can't take the risk because her and her daughters are immunocompromised. Her husband, laid off from Lowe's, has started to pick up some work as a plumber's apprentice, but the hours and wages are lower than his previous job. The family is applying for rent and utility assistance from a local community organization. A lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck, just hoping we have enough to get everything our kids need, and not even ourselves. Again, the fear porn got them in that situation. You didn't just start having immunocompromised people, right? And this is what gets me about this. I'm not saying to be negligent. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you knew your children, or your children was immunocompromised. I would love the receipts on that, by the way. Your child or children are immunocompromised. Thankfully, even if they are having issues, they are in a demographic of people that aren't really seeing a lot of issues with this virus. But you were spreading germs around and shit in your old job. So she's talking about, well, I'm scared of the virus. That's irrational. And I'm not saying, look, I get it. I'm not this person. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that story in itself doesn't make no fucking sense. The outcome is supposed to occur as people finding jobs, but America has not returned to normal we hope for. Well, there's also the restrictions haven't even ended. There are some other programs like food stamps and tax credits that can avert destitution, but many people are now in harm's way. because they have to get a job. I'm done reading this shit. These people, if it were up to these either Marxists or socialistic people or Keynesians, they would have people eat off or suck off the tit of the government for the fucking rest of their lives. And they will never pull the plug on it because they'll always say that basically the sky's going to fall and children are going to go hungry in the event that happens. A lot of this issue, though, unfortunately, came from freaking a lot of irrational people out with this virus. This is one of the examples that I was talking about in the last segment. Remember, I was saying that, look, if the government had approached this and said, you know what, it's not that bad, people would have acted accordingly. But that's not what they did. They spread fear porn. And now you got people acting like, oh, my God, I can't catch this virus. I won't move. And I'll go broke. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.